That's why Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield has added over 6,000 therapists and made it easier for you to get the care you want when you want it. Because whatever you have on the inside deserves to be seen. Because life. Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield.
The Buffalo Bills, WGR Sports Radio 550 and WGR550.com. This is a Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update.
What a day. Bulldog, let me tell you about my night real quick. Just, I don't know. You can feel free to judge me.
I will.
I got home last night. My son was with my wife heading to Canada for lacrosse. My daughter had been dropped off at her hockey practice, and I had like an hour. This often happens. I have like sort of a sometimes actually dangerous 1 hour to myself. Take the dog out and then, I don't know, just sit. And last night, it's beautiful weather. Last night, we had the schedule release on Wednesday. And in the last couple of years, one newer reason why I love the schedule is because of Best Ball Mania on Underdog. where you're drafting on Underdog and you want to know the Week 17 matchups because the theory is you draft a great team and then you sort of luck out Weeks 15 and 16 and make the final, and then you can win seven figures. So Week 17, like they all say in that tournament, that's really, you need to know all the matchups. You know from last year, if the schedule release was on a Wednesday, I don't know if it was, by the next show, I knew all the games on Week 17 schedule. Like I had it. That was the most important thing.
Yep, I know where this is going.
I know you do. This year, a couple of months ago, whenever it was, Underdog stopped servicing customers in New York State because of some legal flap. So we were not allowed to play anymore.
Legal flap.
You hate a legal flap.
Not a fan.
That's the worst kind of flap. It's up there on the list of flaps. Legal flaps, mud flaps. So anyway, it's sort of like out of mind now. Enough time went by where even though I'm hosting that ADP chasing, I'm not paying attention to Week 17. We had the schedule night. I love the schedule. I didn't look at Week 17. I didn't care. Because unless I had time the next morning to drive to Pennsylvania so I could just load up on these Underdog drafts where it was legal, I didn't need to know.
So you should have just kept doing that work, just in case.
It wasn't that kind of week anyway. The car went in, dentist, all kinds of different things. It wasn't going to happen this week anyway, so I knew I didn't need to know it. Last night, get home, I've got that hour. I have the thought as I'm parking in the driveway, getting out of the car, boy, the schedule just came out. Tonight I would totally be jamming Underdog drafts right now, but can't do it. I get inside, I sit down, make a drink, look at Twitter, the first tweet that just came in.
Same here.
Really?
Yes.
We got home at the same time.
Yes.
Underdog is back.
Yes.
Underdog is back. Everybody starts texting each other immediately. Underdog is back. I had to find out if it was like actually on the island, on the river. Sometimes they think you're in Canada. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I would still not get to do it.
Yeah.
I immediately scramble.
It was right at the top of my page.
First thing.
New York, we're back.
Yeah, attention.
Yeah, right.
Attention.
And I thought to text you, and then I thought, I don't need to text him. Underdog probably called him directly.
Everybody
knew.
You
got a direct line to Underdog. You don't need me to tell you about Underdog.
I couldn't tell anybody that didn't know already. Except for maybe Adam Krautwurst. I think maybe he didn't know already. Everybody knew already. It was like instantly everybody knew. I'm in the Discord. They're all talking about it already. How? It's just not even been a minute yet.
Yep.
So, okay. I go to Underdog, Underdog Fantasy. I go to Best Ball Mania. I click on a slow draft because I don't know the games. I'm not prepared. And so I jumped in 20 slow drafts just to do it. To live again. Just to live again.
Right.
And so that's happening now. We're so back, as they say.
All right.
But I didn't know the matchups, so I didn't trust myself to do a fast one, even though I had exactly the right amount of time to do it.
And are the fast ones like the rush? Like is that more fun than the slow ones?
The fast ones are, to me, yes, but you have to be prepared, I think, or else it's dead money.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's like knowing, even like weeks 15 and 16, but knowing sort of the combinations. And I don't know them yet, so we're going to take it slow.
You still don't yet? Wow,
I still don't.
I thought you would have done that, like that just would have happened like that.
No, maybe it should have. Yeah. I'm sorry to disappoint you.
I have too much faith in you.
We did not get to that today, but we will.
All right.
We will.
Well, congratulations.
Congratulations.
We're all very happy
to everybody who enjoys life. It's a great day for you, for us. You enjoy life.
I'm not enjoying life right now.
Really? Is it because Scheffler is 1 under?
No, This is a rocking chair. I don't care about the odds. You're dead. No,
I'm dead.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. He is the betting favorite, even though he's 6 back or 5 back now. Anyway.
Maybe you've never seen him play. You talk like somebody who's never seen him play.
Yeah, no, I am destroyed. I am so tired. I am so sore. I have never felt older than I feel right now in my entire life.
Is it because your son is operating the camera?
That is probably in some emotionally anguishing kind of way contributing to my fatigue. I don't.
You see the writing on the wall. He's sitting right there.
I know. I heard a clip of him talking on the morning show a couple weeks ago, and I thought, oh my God, that sounds like me.
Yeah. I didn't know I was working today.
Cut it out.
I didn't know I was working this morning.
Anyway, yeah, probably that's contributing. But no, I did heavy. I did the big yard work yesterday, and then played golf this morning. And that's 2 times now this year. Prior to playing an early morning round of golf, I did, for me, like 2 to 3 hours of muling around the yard. And I'm a big guy. My weed whacker is the culprit. I need a custom-made weed whacker. It's not tall enough for me. So I have this weird posture. And, weed whacker, you're sort of swinging. For the people watching on the Twitch, I'm doing it. So I'm hunched over just enough. And anyway, it hurt. It does not feel good. And playing golf on top of that, second time this year I've done that. And today I was walking till the last tee box, and I literally thought I could lay down right here in the grass and go to sleep. I am so sore. No. I'm so tired. I'm just so tired.
Oh no!
So
never admit it.
I am not. Yeah, well, let's rewind.
It's one of the first. It's literally one of the first lessons I ever got in radio. When I was doing mornings in Rochester, I said maybe one time that I was tired, and one of the more experienced people on the show said, "Never do that. Never say you're tired."
The audience doesn't want to know that you're challenged.
Maybe for you at this point, you should make it a part of the brand. Like, just I'm in such. You could sort of lean into.
Well, usually I feel pretty good, but I just feel shot today.
Good thing I'm here.
Yes, I just feel.
I did have a game for you. Well,
maybe that'll put a little pep in my step, as the old people say.
Today we're going to bounce around. Sam Panayotovich coming up. Kevin Oklubja from Rochester on the Amerks. Tim Freeze, local golf pro who was at the PGA. I bet he still is. He's played in it. I think he's played in the Club Pro at least. He's been around a long time. We love him. And he got to announce the pairings this morning.
With the first tee, yeah.
So we'll talk to Tim. Brian can't join us. We'll talk to Tim about the golf tournament and Dave Buchanan before we go on the Bandits. Pregame at 7 tonight on WGR. Here is my idea for a game. Did you know it was rivalry week in baseball?
I did, yes.
Did you know they had rivalry week in baseball?
Not exactly. I knew the Subway Series was happening. I guess I didn't. Let me rewind. See, I'm not sharp. I did not know it was rivalry week.
I can't say it either.
What I knew was that the Mets and Yankees were playing because I recorded a commercial last week.
FanDuel?
Promoting it for FanDuel.
Okay, I wanted you to guess the rivalries.
But I had so little clue about it that when our producer, Joe, who's filling in for Zach today, sent me my spots, the way it was labeled, I was like, I don't know what that is. I don't think I have that. And I looked and went, oh, it's the Mets and Yankees thing I recorded last week. Okay. So I can't really cop to being aware of it being rivalry week.
I can't say it either. Rivalry week is this weekend, and I wanted to see how many matchups you could guess.
Oh, boy. Oh, fun.
You know one.
Yes.
You've already guessed correctly, the Mets and the Yankees.
Yes.
It's an interesting thing to try to attack. Like, how would you necessarily attack guessing all the different series?
Right. Let me see if I can just get the teams there. Okay, I'll open the standings. I don't want to look at the schedule because that would obviously be cheating, but I would like to see the field of teams that I'm working with.
Just like with power rankings, you like to look at the teams.
Correct.
The names of the teams.
I just like to make sure I don't forget anybody. Yeah, because that can happen. All right, so rivalry week, Mets and Yankees. I can't believe how troubling it is to say that way. No, it definitely should not be that hard. So Mets and Yankees, Cubs and White Sox?
Yes.
Okay. Rangers, Astros?
Yes.
All right.
They played last night.
How am I doing?
You're 3 for 3.
I'm doing great.
I watched some of that game last night. So they're both in the American League. They're division rivals. So I guess they're allowed to play a 4-game set.
All right. That makes sense.
DeGrom last night, by the way.
Are Tampa and Miami playing?
Yes. I mean, there is a rivalry for you. Mm-hmm. The two Florida teams.
Are the A's and the Giants playing?
Yes, they are.
Wow.
Formerly of California, the A's. No, they're still in California, but they won't be for long. A's and Giants. Formerly Bay Area foes.
All right.
Now it's Sacramento against, not officially, the Giants.
Want to keep going and say Angels and Dodgers?
Angels and Dodgers.
All right.
Are you crossing them off?
No, but I think I'm probably moments from derailing here. So,
what about your Red Sox?
My Red Sox, my first thought would be the Braves.
That's correct. That was their interleague. A lot of these are that. They're interleague partners. When they started interleague, you would get like back home and home. And some of them were kind of weird. But the Braves were in Boston, so that's your rivalry for you.
Yep. Royals and Cardinals.
I-70.
Okay.
Fond memories of a couple of years ago going to a Friday night game in St. Louis, a Saturday game in Kansas City, and a Sunday game in St. Louis.
I want to get the Orioles and the Nationals on the board.
Correct. I have been to a Nationals-Orioles game.
All right.
Adam Dunn hit a grand slam for Washington.
Oh, right. All right. Didn't you catch
I have three Adam Dunn moments. That's one of them.
Okay.
Another one is what you're mentioning, which is dropping a batting practice home run from Adam Dunn at Shea. It's that he goes back that far to Shea.
Yeah.
When I was filling in the scorecard with the pencil in the upper deck in right field at Shea, and I was sitting there, and I started to hear noise, and I looked up, and there was the ball. It just bounced off my hands, and then there was a scramble.
Am I missing any obvious ones? Because I feel like I'm starting to get into the weeds here.
Ohio.
Okay, so Cleveland, Cincinnati. Thank you.
In the name of Adam Dunn, I was at a game where he hit a walk-off grand slam to win 9-8.
That's pretty good.
That is pretty good for Cincinnati.
That is a pretty good random ball game you attended that had a very memorable moment in it.
Yeah.
There is only one team in Canada now still,
That's
right?
What do you do with them?
I don't know.
Who would they? They would, in that interleague thing I said, their team was Philadelphia because of the one World Series maybe, or just process of elimination. The Red Sox would get the Braves, it would be the Mets and the Yankees, the Marlins and the Rays. The Jays would get the Phillies. But their rivalry week opponent is not the Phillies.
Because the Phillies are playing Pittsburgh?
Right. It's the Pirates and the Phillies. That's right.
Okay.
Nice for the Phillies. Nice if you have a geographical partner that sucks and you get to play your rivalry game against them.
Right.
Although I don't think these are like extra games on the schedule.
So I don't know who to pair up with. I should leave Toronto for now. Maybe something will trip once I guess a few others. But
okay.
Let's see. I've got the entire. Well, no, I don't have the entire. Oh, I don't have the entire NL West. I don't have a partner for Seattle yet. Could Seattle be? Jeez, I don't know.
Toronto and Seattle are actually good because
of
the Blue Jays are very popular in Seattle, but it's not.
That's right. I was thinking maybe that could be. That's how I ended up on Seattle.
What I read from one post about rivalry week, it's the W in week that makes this so hard, I think, is that the Mariners and their opponent were the last two teams left. So they just got they were arranged marriage.
Yeah.
Forced marriage. The Mariners and their opponent. So there's no logical path to the Mariners.
Yeah.
On this one.
Boy, this is where it's really gotten hard. The best guess I have left here, because I'm really struggling with the Diamondbacks, the Rockies, the Padres even.
Yep.
I don't know where to put these people. I want to just guess that they've paired Toronto up with Milwaukee.
Detroit.
That was gettable.
Minnesota and Milwaukee is gettable. They're sort of neighbors.
Yeah.
Detroit and Toronto, Seattle and San Diego as the last two teams left, so everybody needs a partner. Rockies, Diamondbacks. That's everybody. You got the rest. I mean, is this a good idea? Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
Why not? It isn't as... I feel like there was a point in time, maybe when interleague play was still relatively new, and there was all this excitement about some of the tradition, inner city rivalries, like the Cubs and White Sox and Yankees and Mets and all that. It'd be like, yeah, great, but what are we doing with the Twins? Like, who's their interleague rival? There's not a fit here. You're forcing it. I feel like what we just did, except for the last few there that you had to give me, I think they mostly make sense. Like geographically, if not traditionally, like Braves and Red Sox is not geographic, but it's, from the 1900s when there were two teams in Boston. One of them eventually became the Atlanta Braves.
Yes.
So that makes sense. And even Toronto, Detroit was gettable. Detroit being a border city like us, that was gettable.
Also a great memory, the baseball trip I took now almost 20 years ago, going up through Toronto to Lake Huron for a couple nights, and then embarking on the trip and getting up crack of dawn in the morning, driving from there to Detroit through Canada. What a great trip. Detroit, Wednesday afternoon Detroit, rookie Verlander against Andy Pettitte and the Astros. Thursday, Wrigley, Milwaukee, Chicago, Mark Pryor. Friday night, the Adam Dunn Grand Slam, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Griffey. Saturday, Detroit, Pittsburgh, so doubled up on Detroit, and we got tired. Speaking of being tired, that Saturday was a 5 o'clock game, and we got out of there because we drove straight home from there, and we made it, but it was a tough one there.
Yeah, that's all. That's a lot. That's a lot of driving and a lot of beers. Probably, not too many to make it unsafe, but still a few, and that'll take it out of you.
4 games in 4 days was. Yeah. Didn't need to see the last out of the Detroit-Pittsburgh game.
That was bold.
It was great.
When you mentioned a trip to Detroit, I was thinking of the Clemens the hot dog fiasco.
What a story. If anybody, some people have been lucky enough, you go to a game and something famous happens. A no-hitter, even like somebody hits for the cycle, 4 home runs. We just had that with Suarez in Arizona. You go to a game and the Adam Dunn walk-off grand slam to win by 1 is pretty good. Nothing for me will ever top Detroit in 2003. Clemens, Sunday afternoon, Tigers' worst team, threatening to become like one of the worst teams of all time. They were. I mean, they had just opened Comerica Park, but they were so bad. And they were not drawing anybody. Like super small crowds for a terrible Tigers team. It lined up that Clemens, I never miss a chance to tell this story, that Clemens was going for his 300th win on the Sunday in Detroit, Sunday afternoon. And, guys at the station and I decided to go. So we bought tickets. They were not expensive, right near the foul pole in right field. And we met somewhere here, maybe 8 o'clock in the morning somewhere. I drove, I think. We all got in the car and drove to Detroit, like a 4-hour drive. We got there, no problem. Huge crowd. Of course. It's a chance at history. Right. Roger Clemens going for his 300th win. He'll definitely get it. It's against the Tigers.
Right.
Like, he'll definitely get it.
And somehow the Tigers didn't plan for there being a huge crowd because they were terrible and probably didn't have all the concession stands open and all that kind of stuff. Right? Something. We got there early. Let's just eat inside. We're here. Let's get in there. It was these guys. And hour before the first pitch, they're out of hot dogs. At a baseball game.
But before Yankees, Tigers, Sunday, hour before the game started, out of hot dogs.
It never ceases to make me laugh.
And the whole day was basically around that. They just didn't have enough food. And they didn't have 10,000 people. They had 50,000 people for this game because of Clemens. So we're managing. We're taking turns. Guys would be gone for innings to go wait in line for food. They'd be gone for like 3 innings.
Yeah.
And the Yankees get way ahead, maybe like 8-3 in the 5th or something like that. So it's just a formality.
He's going to get the win, right? All right.
And the Tigers got him. The worst team in baseball got him. They strung hits together and they tied the game, and he leaves, and that's not happening. He will not get his 300th win. So I don't know. Probably a lot of people left. They're starving. I mean, a lot of people just probably left at that point. There's no 300th win. There's no hot dogs. I'm done. And we didn't, we were there for the day. Game goes to the 17th inning.
And you obviously have to drive back to Buffalo. You're not spending the night in Detroit.
I'm going to forget one of the who was there. Brad Bisbing was there. Dan Sontag was there. Maybe Pat Malacaro. There were four of us. I wish I knew for sure. But we're just like, yeah, and we're driving home after the game. But everybody just wanted to stay, and maybe there was enough food so that we were not starving. So it's a 5-hour game, 17th inning. Jeter homers, I want to say, in the 17th. And Wells pitches in relief of Clemens. I mean, of 5 other guys, too. But Wells pitches, he finishes the game for the Yankees, and they win like 10-9, something like that, in 17. And then we drove home. I'll just never beat it.
No.
It was like a doubleheader, chance at history, no hot dogs. I'll never beat it.
It's the best.
Yeah. Sam Panayotovich coming up. He is in Charleston, South Carolina for a wedding. And I texted him last night. You and I both do a lot of that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you good for tomorrow? He's like, I wouldn't miss it. So we'll see how things are going at a bachelor weekend wedding in Charleston. And that's coming up next. Kevin Oklubja on the Amherst, Tim Freeze, Dave Buchanan, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. This is WGR.
Never miss.
Adam Schefter. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog on a sunny and warm Friday. Thanks for listening. Joining us now, the host of Bet Sweats, Odyssey Sports betting insider Sam Panayotovich. Insider calls presented by BetMGM. Check out the latest lines today on the BetMGM app, and be sure to catch Sam's show with Joe Ostrowski, Bet Sweats, live 9 to noon on the BetMGM network on the Odyssey app. Sammy P, where the P stands for Preakness. Or does it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it could really stand for whatever you want it to on any given occasion, I guess. I thought the P was for prowl, because I'm prowling through South Carolina and Georgia this weekend.
Yes, so let's talk about the picture. Sam has just tweeted a picture of some shrimp at a place are you in Augusta right now, or is this from...
Yeah, on the way to Atlanta. So they call that the flight. It's at this place called Beamy's. You get 3 shrimp dishes, a jambalaya, a gumbo, and shrimp and grits.
A jambalaya, a gumbo. Which is the one with the baked beans? Is that going to be gumbo?
Yeah, I think there's the chicken in one, and then the other one has the beans.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't feel like I have ever had grits properly prepared.
Yeah, and you don't want them either.
I'm not sure I know that. Like, I think I might want to try. Like, if I were with you on this trip and someone said, you got to have the shrimp and grits, I think I would want to try it, just on the chance that, like, I've only had it maybe a half a dozen times in my life. And I just it never really took for me, but I wonder if I just have not had, the stuff.
There's a My Cousin Vinny joke in there somewhere. I don't remember the exact line, but when they're arguing about the grits cooking faster in your kitchen.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Look,
the laws of physics.
The first move, if it's me and you, I'm getting you a fishbowl with, like, blue alcohol in it. Then we can do the grits. But, I mean, no, you're a fishbowl guy. I know that about you.
I think the other two are 1A, 1B. They both look great. I would not be interested in the grits one. That's just not the corn.
I would want to experience it, sandy. But I know I love gumbo and I know I love jambalaya. So like, there's no question I'm going to enjoy those. I would want to experience, like, the authentic grits thing. But
can't go wrong here. Can't go wrong here, Sam.
How'd your night turn out last night?
Good. What's that?
How'd your night turn out last night?
Oh, it was great. It was great. I did the old-fashioned $20 bartender trick at the wedding, which is a must. If you don't do it, what's wrong with you? By the end of the night, shots are flying. That's how it goes.
Yep.
What is that, a $20 tip right away?
Right away, yeah. Open bar, let's prime the pump here. Like, you want this person to see you coming, and so hit them up right away. Because, Sam, I think we were communicating, I think, via Twitter mostly on this. My experience knowing, maybe too many bartenders a little too well over the years is that people who tip might not realize how many people don't. Especially at a thing where, it's free, it's open bar, I don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
And so if you come flying in with a 20, when the doors open, man, that person is going to remember you.
You'd like to think so.
I picked it up, actually, on the other side, because I used to 10 bar in Chicago.
Right. And
my best customer would come in every Sunday. He would give me a 20 right off the rip. And I would make sure that he was always ready to go. When his Stella was getting low, I was ready to back him up, and he would hand me a 20 on the way out. But he started up front with a 20 and ended with a 20, and trust me, I made sure he was good at all times. Even if I was slammed to the gills,
right,
he was good to go.
Smart. Makes, just simple game theory type stuff here. Just
right.
Very smart.
Right.
So... do you have a Preakness take here? Dare I ask? I'm not sure that's necessarily top of mind. There's Celtics, Knicks. We're talking NFL win totals in here these days. Baseball,
the Leafs might
NHL.
be a hot topic tonight too. At least here. I don't know if Sam's thinking about it while he's in Georgia/South Carolina. But
so I can go really wherever you want. We do have some goods on the Preakness. Now, you're not going to like that I'm going to tell you to play the favorite, but journalism should win. I'm also not really fazed by him running again, because you have a lot of the horses that ran in the Derby not running in the Preakness. Journalism had to go through the mud. Like, it was one of the worst trips for a horse, and he still almost got there. I was more impressed with sovereignty than I was unimpressed with journalism. But the two horses that I'm trying to build around here, guys, I like the 2 to win. I'm going to do an exacta 2-1 and 2-3, and then an exacta box 1-2-3. So I need one of those two horses to finish first and second. That's sort of where I'm at. We had Eddie Olczyk on the show this week. He likes the 8, Clever Again. I'm not there. Not to say that I'm smarter than Eddie. I'm not even going to go there. But I've heard people kind of warm towards this 8 horse, Clever Again. I'm staying on top though. I like the way the 1 is going to lead. And I'm sort of 1, 2, 3. Those are my 3 horses in this race that I'm going to try and build around.
How much does if you know, or have an somewhat educated guess, which I would bet you do, how much does the Kentucky Derby winner not being in the Preakness draw down, like pull back on the amount of action that people, because the interest, I think, kind of wanes if the Triple Crown isn't in play?
It's a good question. What I can tell you is that the Masters and the Kentucky Derby are the best for handle every single year. But then I'd be lying if I didn't say that people are tired of losing $100, and then they're like, all right, well, that was fun, and then I lost all my money at the Masters and at Kentucky Derby. So people do tend to shut the water down after the first huge event in both golf and in horse racing. But I think the casual observer is just sort of like, wait a minute. The horse wins the first one, it's the Triple Crown, and then doesn't go for the second. That's sort of weird, but, the horses can't speak, guys, and clearly that horse has been through it. Bill Mott's a Hall of Fame trainer. If he doesn't think the horse is ready to go, then it's not ready to go. I mean, think about how much money those guys make that own those Triple Crown horses. I mean, all those horses do is just breed the rest of their lives. Those are $1 million horses.
Yeah.
And, just millions per breed. And it's something that you would have to believe if the horse was ready, he would be running. But those factors combined with, people already probably lost money at the Masters and at the Derby, there's not that same appetite at the Preakness and the Belmont.
Makes sense. Imagine, the Grand Slam, say in golf, is so rare, but imagine like McIlroy being like, yeah, I'm just going to skip the PGA Championship. I'm just going to rest. I'll get ready for the Open, whatever. Tennis, you would have, maybe not in a long time, but you would have Australia goes first, and then somebody might just, a Sampras or somebody would have had maybe no chance on the clay, and then skip Paris.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But, horses, as Sam astutely pointed out, do not get much of a say in the decision. All right, so that's tomorrow. 1, 2, 3, that's easy to remember. Knicks, Celtics. Sam, what is your thought on where we're at in that series and the NBA outlook overall?
I'm not going to lie. I thought the ball moved better without Tatum in Game 5. Now, that is not a hot take. That is not me saying they're better without Tatum. In fact, I think they could really use him tonight on the road, where he was balling the game he got hurt, by the way. Had like 45 points or whatever.
Oh, yes.
But it's so sad. I wish him the best, obviously. You guys know where I'm at, though. Like, I have a very big position on Boston to win the series, and I did that when they went down 2-0. I feel like it's a bet I'm accepting loss on. Like, I expect to lose it. But if I can find a winner here, I'd be very happy. I mean, if they win tonight, I think they win in 7, going back home to Boston. Because then all the Nick doubt creeps in, and, that's a franchise that hasn't exactly been great in these big moments. But this is a legacy game for a guy like Jalen Brunson. I think a lot of people talking about the series make it about the Celtics, good or bad. This kid could come out tonight, score 35, and take his team to an Eastern Conference final. I expect him to have a big night. I hope he's just 1 point less than Boston, right? I hope Boston squeaks by and makes it 7. And I'll go Monday. I'll go hang out for the game and maybe win some money. But I am nervous about a big Brunson night. I am, no doubt.
Oklahoma City is about even money to win the championship. Does that? You're not going to bet that at that price. That's not the Sam we know. But does that feel right?
It does. I don't know. I don't know that it's a layup. They get by Denver. I was actually looking at Denver yesterday morning. We were doing it on the show talking about the finals prices, and Denver going into Game 6 was 30-1. And I threw it at Joe, and he's like, man, it'd be nice to have Jokic in my corner 30-1. Now, we didn't do it, and now that price is nowhere near 30 going into Game 7. I think Oklahoma City is going to be a very popular money line play. Like most people that bet the NBA are going to have either the Thunder on the money line or the Thunder minus the points in Game 7. I know the house needs Denver, and the house would celebrate if Denver could win that thing outright.
Is Oklahoma City on the verge of doing something that's never happened? Is it 60 wins and not getting past the second round? Like if they lose Game 7
tonight,
I think they will make history
Sunday
with not getting to a conference final. Is it 60 or it might be whatever their total was this year? Like it's the most wins a team's ever had if they don't get past the second round.
It could be. That sounds like something that lines up because they won, I believe, 68 games.
Yeah.
Maybe it was 60. Maybe it was 65.
Yeah.
And then the other part of that conversation, Bulldog, if they do choke, it would be a choke if you lose Game 7 at home. I'm sorry, it would be. Mm-hmm. Imagine the possibilities for them in the offseason because then they're going to go out and try and get better. And they have the assets and the picks where they can flip multiple, nice assets to get maybe a Giannis who's on his way out of Milwaukee likely. And then you got the Spurs with Wembanyama and Castle, and they got the 2 pick. Are they going to get aggressive? This West, guys, is turning over quickly. The Lakers are old. They're never going to win again with LeBron. It's not going to happen. And now the Warriors got, 3 guys that are over 100 years old. And Draymond, Jimmy, and Steph Curry. Those guys are old now. Steph Curry's 37. That's an old 37. A lot of miles here. You're going to see the next few years, guys, Oklahoma City, Houston, San Antonio, those teams have a lot to build on.
Have you given much thought to NFL awards, Offensive Rookie of the Year, that kind of thing?
I did bet Hampton, which I think we talked about a couple weeks ago, the running back from North Carolina, who is a Charger back now. I think him at 15-1 is a great bet. Nakua will get my money for Offensive Player of the Year. It's his room now. That's his show in Los Angeles, and as Stafford and McVay are there, he's gonna have a huge year. I did, by the way, off the top, was Shefty saying the Patriots are gonna be good this year? I couldn't tell.
There were 2 comments. The first one was seemingly benign, like they'll be underrated or something. I mean, their win total is closer to 500. When I heard that, I'm like, you want to say they're going to have like a really good year if you're going to make that take, and then he kind of did. Push the Bills in the way Washington pushed Philadelphia. So that's double-digit wins. I mean, he doesn't get credit for if New England goes 9-8 after that take. They need like 11 wins, I think.
And you're going to need, to push Buffalo, you're going to need 11 or 12. I love Buffalo's schedule. Good grief. I mean, I'm going to be parlaying Bills to win the East with a lot of things in the summer, guys. I'm not even kidding. Like, Bills to win the East, Clemson to win the ACC, stuff like that. I'm going to have a lot of Bills exposure, but I don't want to lay minus 250, minus 300, so I'll put that in a bunch of parlays. I'd love to book Shefty. I mean, the guy knows a million things, but I bet he can't pick a winner. So I disagree with him on the Patriots take. I don't see it this year. They're too young. Their offense has a lot of question marks. And their offensive line isn't really that great either. So I'm going to zag on that one. I disagree.
Does the schedule coming out and being like known now provide any kind of an opportunity for like bettors on totals and divisions and any of the stuff that we're talking about here now that everyone knows? Like, do any of those lines fluctuate at all once the schedule's known?
I think people use the schedule as sort of a crux where they use it to either supplement a point, good or bad. Like, oh, well, I like this team. Oh, look, the schedule is kind of easy. Like, it's sort of a complimentary part of your bet, not like your full bet. Like, I don't think most people look at a schedule and think, oh, like, I'm going to bet that over or that under. People have conviction on a team either way and then kind of use the schedule to balance their take. Yeah, confirmation bias, exactly. That's what it is. Like, oh, I like the Falcons this year, and the NFC South is bad, and the schedule is easy. I'll bet the over, right? We sort of just talk ourselves into this. I didn't really change one thing. I mean, like, it doesn't. I already knew the schedule. I just didn't know the order of it. So it doesn't really change much for me. But I saw one outlet said Buffalo has the 4th easiest schedule in the NFL, and that might be conservative. It could be easier.
You might be able to capitalize in the same way like a live bet during a game where your team goes down 7-0, but you think they're the better team in terms of like teams that have the hard games first. And you kind of forget about them. Maybe they're 2-3 or something like that, and the odds change. I mean, everything's always up. So you could maybe think of it that way. Before you go, Sam, I have to admit, I loved the grid on Bill Belichick's girlfriend's next boyfriend. I had to reach out to Joe for Jack McKeon. I just thought that was so funny. Jack McKeon, the former manager. I mean, Joe was he put Marv on the list. Marv was on his list at 99.
Good Lord.
If you didn't hear this segment, we did a 4-player snake draft, so 16 guys picked, on Jordan Hudson's next boyfriend. Ostrowski, though, in the 3rd round, picks Dick Clark.
Yeah.
Dick Clark has been dead since 2012.
Yeah. Whoops. he got a mulligan for that.
Well, these things can't get away from you, Sam.
15 guys in Ellen. 15 guys in Ellen were chosen in this particular draft.
Oh, well, Mike said one last thing. I got one last. It's hockey, Sam, so sorry, but Leafs plus 184 tonight. Like, I don't know how much you know about their reputation, but, like, this is a spot. Most of their fans are curled up in a ball like they're watching the Blair Witch Project right now with the performance they put on the ice at home in Game 5 a couple nights ago. I like to think, like, a team that's talented, there's a little bit Billsy here. Like, keep knocking on the door. Like, at some point, it's going to happen. I don't know. Do you think you have the guts to take the Leafs plus 184 tonight against the defending champs in Florida?
What I'm thinking about doing, Bulldog, is betting Florida to win in 7 games. Like, you can make that bet right now. So it's a 2-team parlay. I would need Toronto today and then Florida in Game 7. I have thought about that all day, where the Leafs win tonight and then they go back home and lay an egg in 7. Like, that's what I think is going to happen, and it would be the most cruel as well.
That maybe 4 or 5 to 1?
Something like that, or get shut out. I don't know. I mean, like, that's a big number for a good team tonight, and I think they're going to be better on the road than they are at home.
They'll get the calls. All right, Sam. Enjoy wedding weekend down there in the South.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thanks for fitting us in, bud.
Sam Panayotovich from, I guess, near Augusta on his way to Atlanta. Weekend festivities. He and Joe Ostrowski host Bet Sweats on the BetMGM network. Insider calls presented by BetMGM when you want to check out Sam's show on the Odyssey app. One of these days, I'll just be able to read that. The way it's written, there have been changes made to it, so I know just not to plow ahead. Already making excuses here. That's a bad sign.
I'm the one who's tired. I don't know what's wrong with you.
I don't know. Maybe I'm tired. I'm that mower. The heat, the sweat. 3 days in a row I've been on it.
It'll take it out of you.
It'll so take it out of you. 3 days in a row. All right, time out here. We'll talk some more after a break. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
Broadcasting live.
Text from Sneaky Joe, SJD, says in the NHL and NBA this year, 10 division winners, right? The NBA has 6 divisions.
Mm-hmm.
Of the 10 between the two leagues, 6 are out. 3 are down, 3 games to 2, which would include the Leafs and Winnipeg.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the Celtics, right?
Right.
And then 1 is tied 3-3. That'd be Oklahoma City.
Yeah. I heard Joe mention that on the on their show this morning.
So why is he texting it to me? Like, he's already said it on the air. I'd be like, if you didn't hear it, I'm not sending you this. Like, I've already said it.
Well.
And maybe I feel like the text is because it hasn't been out there yet.
Well, I think I might guess that my stumbling around about the number of wins Oklahoma City had to not make it to at least the conference final might have prompted it's a similar vein type thing.
He sent it to me.
That's right. He did send it to you. He doesn't like me.
I don't know. Weird.
We're in a bad place, me and Sneaky Joe.
Is that right?
No, not really. I have no idea what I'm talking about at all.
R.I.P. to the Whammer.
Yeah.
Joe Don Baker, dead at 89. That's not going to be, I don't know. I read on him today after I learned of his death. I don't know a lot of his catalog, but the Whammer would not be his, number one role.
No, I saw Walking Tall mentioned, and rightly so.
Walking Tall.
I think he's the bad guy sheriff in the Walking Tall, or some of the Walking Tall series.
Yeah. I like the Whammer, though. That guy, he was a good heel.
Yes, he was.
The Whammer. In The Natural, if I need to say. I probably do, because it's 40 years ago.
And he's only on screen for, I don't know, it's not long, is he? Or am I messing that up? I feel like there's a flashback scene and that's it. I don't feel like he's in the rest of the film.
Yeah, no, that's right. He's in the part before pre-shooting.
They get off the train
pre-shooting,
and they have a little exhibition.
Yeah,
the Whammer.
So he would have been in Buffalo for that. That's where the movie was shot. So you'd think he would have been here for that.
I suppose, but I don't know if the entirety of the film was shot in Buffalo. I mean, that's a pretty rural-looking scene there, but so it could have been.
We have that.
Around, yeah, we do.
We have that. It's like at a fair or something when he gets the 3 pitches.
Yeah.
Oh, the Whammer. All right, we will take a break and talk about the big games on the Bills' schedule. Do some of that here. Kevin O'Klubja coming up next hour on the Amerks Playoff Series. We'll chat with Tim Freeze, local golf pro who was the starter, basically announcing the pairings at the PGA Championship today. That had to be great. And Dave Buchanan on the Bandits. The finals start tonight downtown, Game 1. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, WGR.
update.
The Bandits make their 5th consecutive NLL final appearance as the best-of-3 series opens tonight at KeyBank Center against the Saskatchewan Rush. Pre-game show begins at 7 with face-off at 7:30. Can catch all of the action right here on WGR Sports Radio 550. One game tonight, the NHL playoffs. Toronto Maple Leafs, looking to avoid elimination, are in Florida taking on the Panthers with face-off set for 8 p.m. And Florida currently is leading the series 3-2. Tonight in the NBA playoffs, the Knicks look to end the Celtics' postseason run in Game 6 with tip-off set for 8 p.m. The winner of this series goes on to face the Pacers in an Eastern Conference final. Day 2 of the PGA Championship saw Jonathan Vegas finish 8 under, currently atop the leaderboard. For more on the PGA Championship, tune in to a 2-hour Tee to Green show tomorrow morning, live from Niagara Frontier Golf Club. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet, celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Joe Cali for WGR Sports Radio 550.
The boys are at Niagara Frontier tomorrow morning. Tee to Green was just announced. I'll be there on Monday.
All right.
Not broadcasting.
Just playing
golf. Yes.
Good for you.
Yes, it is good for me. I think it will be very good for me. Might not be that good for Niagara Frontier, but it'll be good for me.
Or your playing partners. Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll
Scramble.
Ah.
Nothing. What could go wrong?
No,
I mean,
that's easy peasy. Good deal.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah, good.
So it's been schedule week, and not to just totally turn our backs to it. Of course, everybody always knows the who about the schedule, just not the when. Wednesday night was for the when. And I want to talk about the 4 big non-division games the Bills have, all at home. It's so great that these are all home games. Last year at the stadium, you know, the competitive advantage that there is, and also just being able to go out there and see all these games. Ravens, Chiefs, Bengals, Eagles is the order. Just want to spend a minute or two on like each one and how we did with the timing. Like, so Baltimore week 1, is that good or bad? I brought this up to Sal yesterday, and Sal, I think, rightly said, you can get pretty twisted with these, you know, like just conjuring all kinds of different angles and theories about like why playing a team at a certain point is good or bad. With week 1, I mean, there can be exceptions, but you'd expect everybody to be healthy. Your best guys aren't going to see much, if any, action in the preseason. And, you know, you're going right headlong into the season against a team that is about your equal. It's an interesting way to start it.
Yeah, there probably shouldn't be many nagging type injuries. I mean, I guess that can happen, attrition through camp, and certainly guys do get hurt in the summer in preseason games and in practice. So, I mean, that could tilt a bit. Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, you know, you should be looking at a pretty hearty complement of all the regular dudes. I like one of the first things I noticed when, you know, we were talking about this in advance of the actual official release. We had it, and it turned out to be right on Wednesday afternoon. That there is, you know, it's not, all the games are not equidistant from one another, but there is enough spacing there. I think the tightest is are the last 2. The Bengal game is 3 weeks ahead of the Philly game. But you've got a few weeks there, November 2nd to December 7th between Kansas City and Cincinnati, and of course all the way from September 7th, the opener against Baltimore, all the way to November 2nd for Kansas City. So unlike, I feel like a couple of recent recent years here, there have been little pockets in the schedule they were looking like, man, look at that. San Francisco and Kansas City, maybe close by. Philadelphia and Kansas City 2 years ago were right around each other, maybe back-to-back with a bye in between, if I remember correctly.
And then Dallas.
And that ended up kind of looking like a walkover. The San Francisco game was not that hard, but, sitting here in the springtime of those seasons, prior to those seasons, those look daunting. There is no place on this schedule that looks like that.
Except I must say, both the Dallas and San Francisco games to me were never daunting.
You were
They're
never
both easy wins.
worried about them.
I knew they both would be. I thought they both would be easy wins.
Yeah.
They're going to get here and run out of the tunnel and be like, it's so cold and dark. What's one loss going to? Because one loss is not going to kill us.
Yeah, and as it turned out, San Francisco's season was it got away from them before they got here, even.
Yes, and that was not a one-sided game, really. That was turnovers. The Niners, they were about even with the Bills, but they fumbled at the goal line twice or something. Like they sort of gave it away. Anyway, your point.
So I like the spacing. I think it might allow and Sean McDermott sort of revealed, I think, in talking to Sal and Matt Beauvais on their It's Always Game Day in Buffalo podcast in advance of the schedule release, when asked about what you look for, he did make a point about the spacing. Like how where are different games, and where are there? It wasn't so much the spacing of the opponents specifically, because of course a coach is not going to tell you which teams he's more worried about. But it was basically, where are there pockets where there's a little extra time? Where's there a time crunch? And when can we try to sort of do a little work? If we've got a pocket of extra time, when can we do a little work on an opponent where there's a shorter amount of time? Like, can we do work on third down, say, stuff with, for a game where we know we're on a short week, and do that in advance and that kind of thing. And I think the spacing of these games, while I'm not ready to go long on how much rest there is in between, it's just you've got gaps there. So if you feel like you need to do a little extra work on the Bengals and the Chiefs, you've got the time to do that. It's not like they're right on top of one another. So I think that's advantageous. I really feel like if someone were, I think misguidedly so, wanting to make a case that the league was trying to spoon feed the Bills a Josh Allen Super Bowl appearance, that this schedule is as advantageous as it can get, considering that the teams you're going to play are locked in. There's nothing you can do about it. But I think the Bills avoiding all the other stuff, the Europe and the holidays and all that, and the spacing of these 4 games, I think it's advantageous. Like, I could see someone in Kansas City or Baltimore or Cincinnati looking at the Bills' schedule going, man, they really got, they got off easy.
I just think it's the quantity of quote easy games versus not. Like, I guess maybe you'd want them spread out. I understand. I just think what jumps out is stretches where, the weeks 2 through 7 or whatever it is, where you're playing teams that have been bad. Like, it's just, maybe it's just mostly semantics, just.
Yeah, it's the same point, really. It's the schedule looks easy because the hard games are spaced out, and in between is
because there are so few. Yeah, I think it's why it looks easy, because there are so few for me. But Baltimore week 1, is there any strategic advantage either way with that being the opener? I guess I haven't thought of one yet. I will say again, you'd expect all the stars to be on the field.
Yeah.
Which is what you got last year, even though it was the playoffs. I mean, both teams were mostly healthy, I guess. So there's that.
Yeah. I don't necessarily disagree with a point I think Sal made when we posed this, or when you posed this to him yesterday, that Baltimore is such a different animal offensively, specifically Jackson and now Henry here for a second year, that really they play in a way that no one else on your schedule is really capable of playing. So you have all summer to go to school on what you want to do with the Ravens. And I think that if I can find an advantage there, I would say it's to Buffalo's favor, because I don't know that the Bills. I mean, Allen is unique as Jackson is, but their offense I don't think is as it's just that Allen is not as big a threat as Jackson. Jackson just is a level above even as a runner, as great as Allen is. And so you really got to button that up. And Henry is just such a big, powerful guy that it's a unique matchup, and having it right out of the box instead of in the middle of your season gives you a lot of ramp up time, I think. So I do like that point. I think that's a valid point. I don't know if it doesn't mean they're obviously going to win the game or anything, but it gives you an opportunity to do as much extra work on that as you feel you need to do.
I guess I would say that does work both ways in the Ravens, in this case, having the same amount of time to show different looks, to come up with, pivots when it comes to the Bills. But that's just always going to be said. The Ravens outgained the Bills by 143 yards in that playoff game. I guess I didn't remember that it was that one-sided. The turnovers, you think of the game for the Ravens' mistakes, the drop 2-point pass, 3 turnovers to none. Allen threw for 127 against Baltimore. That's incredible to be able to win with 127 passing yards and never forcing a punt to win the game is pretty good. Ravens had the opening night game last year in Kansas City, and now they're at the Bills, so they're used to tough asks in week one. I looked up Lamar Jackson in openers, and I'm not sure it's anything is that profound here. The game against Miami is memorable in 2019, where he had taken that starting job as a rookie. They made the playoffs. He had an awful playoff game against the Chargers at home, and they lost. Next year he came out. They won 59-10 in Miami, and that was like the beginning of unanimous MVP, like that season for him. There was a Monday night game they lost in Las Vegas a few years ago. Anyway, just sort of bouncing ideas around about that night, sort of on paper. Kansas City Week 9, the second of these 4 big games on the Bills' schedule. No reason for me to think like anything is different about Bills Chiefs. Like, it's the middle of the season. They're probably both going to be, competing with each other for seeds and, division title stuff. I think when you put that game there early, it's important, like the Ravens game is, you just don't know anything yet about the season. By the midpoint, by week 9, we'll know quite a bit. And that will almost certainly be the game it's been, for years on the calendar. Huge in the league. Is Travis Kelce still Travis Kelce at that point? Whatever. There'll be things about the two teams that we won't know at this point. But
yeah, I do like for the timing of that game. I like from the Bills' standpoint that it's a couple of weeks after they will have gotten a couple of guys back. I mean, I don't want to overstate this because I'm not ready to say like Ogunjobi especially or Michael Hoyt are going to be big needle movers, but they are pieces that they added to this defense, and I'm especially intrigued about Hoyt. I'm really bummed out we don't get to see him fresh out of the wrapper when the season begins, because he, I think, he feels to me like a piece the Bills have not really had, like a player. Well, I shouldn't say that. Maybe Lorenzo Alexander. Like we did make that comparison was made, even though they're stature wise, physically they don't look that similar. But what Alexander was kind of a jack of all trades, and they ended up finding ways to make that work for them. And I feel like Hoyt is another version of that. And that, especially him, more than Ogunjobi. Because I think Ogunjobi's just he's a guy in your rotation on the defensive line. I feel like Hoyt might be somebody that you will be able to deploy in a variety of different ways and that won't be fresh out of the wrapper against Kansas City. Maybe there's a case to be made that that would be better. But just get him on the field in the Carolina game and get an idea of like what really he can do for you from different spots, edge, interior, linebacker, even whatever, wherever you want to put him. And Kansas City won't have a ton of run up on what they're doing with him yet. So I like that. And, so that I feel like works out well for the Bills. If the Chiefs had been, week 5 or something, then it's another one of these things that I think you might be able to look at and go like, man, boy, the Bills they really caught a break there. Yep.
The bye is nice for them in that way.
Yeah.
Week 7.
And it's really soft after Baltimore for the rest of those suspensions, depending on what Atlanta looks like. Atlanta it could end up being good. It's a harder game than you're expecting sitting here today.
I mean, the Jets, maybe not, but it's on the road, and Fields maybe presents sort of a unique challenge. But Miami, that's been a game, when not every time, but the Dolphins have often given the Bills a game. And then New England in week 5 is also... You're not saying it's like obvious or a given that those are going to be blowouts or anything, but we have to see it first, maybe the Patriots are enough better to make that competitive. The league must think so by putting on Sunday night. So you have the Chiefs in week 9, Cincinnati in week 14. I guess I'm thinking right now that game is going to be massive. Maybe that's seeding, maybe there's division races. I guess the Bills could have clinched the division by then. They did last year, but probably not. And I'm already excited about that one.
Yeah. I can't find anything that I consider advantageous there. Like I did with Baltimore, you got extra time to prepare. Of course, so do they, sure. But I've got that. That's good for that matchup. I made the point about the Chiefs and the guys coming back from suspension.
That doesn't apply anymore.
No. Cincinnati is the lone home game in a stretch of 4 out of 5 on the road. So you're away, Bengals away. That's just a tough. Even though none of the trips are arduous, flight time wise, time zone wise, same thing. I just feel like you're going to get home in the middle of that, and I'm. If there's a pocket in the schedule I'm worried about, it's there, because I just think that's a lot. All that travel, I think could wear on them, like, to the point where even like Houston is not a super long flight, but it's the longest trip of the year, and it's in that pocket. And whatever the hardest thing, if you got an easy life, whatever the hardest thing you've got to deal with can sometimes get bigger magnitude-wise, because it's the most challenging thing, even though it really isn't that hard. I feel like that's the Houston trip. So, and the Bengal game is, shortly after that, you got the Pittsburgh game in between. I think that's a tough spot. 4 out of 5 on the road is tough. Any way you cut it. Even though you're home for that Bengal game, I'm a little worried about that part of the schedule.
After that is Philadelphia week 17, which for me is kind of a bummer, that game being so late. Maybe it's huge, maybe it's not. Maybe it's so late that each team, or the Bills, as far as we care about it, just don't have a ton on the line. But, maybe. I think that game is incredible in week 6. But week 17, so far off, there's just the whole season's going to play out first, and I can't get too hyped for it just because of that. But if it's big, it'll be that so great. I mean, Philadelphia, just like Super Bowl winner, play them early and enjoy the hype of that. By then, it won't be quite the same, I think. Let's get CJ in real quick. Go ahead, CJ.
Guys, I just want to say I looked at the Baltimore Ravens schedule, and if you were a Baltimore Ravens fan, it's like rubbing salt on the wound. Back-to-back years, you have the opening game against a team you lost in the playoffs. The Chiefs, you played them in the AFC Champion game. Next year, you play them in the opening game. The opening game is the hardest due to the fact that, one, you have no tape on whatever new scheme or whatever wrinkles they want to throw in. And two, you're in a division against a team that you know the Bills are going to win a division. It's a lot weaker compared to what you're in. You can be behind the 8 ball the very first week, kind of like they was when they played us last year, 1-3, starting the season rough. it's not easy and it's tough already being in the AFC. I just look at the Ravens schedule and say that's a tough pill to swallow.
Yep, thanks, CJ. That is correct. 2 years in a row, they open in a playoff rematch.
Right. They get the Browns week 2, but then it's Detroit and it's Kansas City back to back. At least the Lions game is in Baltimore, but then they're on the road in Kansas City. Houston and the Rams after that. Like that's a pretty, that's a healthy stretch for them.
Hard.
All
playoff teams except for the Browns in their first 6 games. We will turn our attention to the Amerks next. The Amerks are home game 2 of their best of 5 with Laval in the AHL playoffs tonight in Rochester. Kevin O'Klubja will join us to give us a preview after the break. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, WGR.
The Bandits make their 5th consecutive NLL Finals appearance as the best-of-3 series opens tonight at KeyBank Center against the Saskatchewan Rush. Pre-game show begins at 7 with face-off set at 7:30 p.m. You can catch all of the action right here on WGR Sports Radio 550. One game tonight for the NHL playoffs. Toronto Maple Leafs, looking to avoid elimination, are in Florida, taking on the Panthers with face-off set for 8 p.m. Florida currently is leading the series 3-2. And tonight in the NBA playoffs, the Knicks look to end the Celtics postseason run in Game 6 with tip-off set for 8 p.m. Winner of this series goes on to face the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Final. Those are your Paddock Chevrolet sports headlines. Paddock Chevrolet, celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Joe Cali for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Call or text WGR at 803-0550 or post on X at WGR550 and get connected to Schopp and the Bulldog now. Brought to you by Northtown Kia. Check out the 2025 Kia K4 sedan. Named finalist for the 2025 North American Car of the Year.
The scenes in Rochester Wednesday night, that is Don Stevens. The Amherst took the lead but would lose to Laval 5-4 in the first game, best of 5. Joining us now on the West Her Hotline to talk about the Amherst is Kevin O'Klubja, longtime friend of ours. It did not occur to me until today that there's a horse race to talk about, Kevin. I'm sure you're good for a Preakness question at some point here, too.
Sure, why not? Why not?
Why not? I mean, two great subjects, the Amherst and the Triple Crown races.
Absolutely, and there used to be a time when the Amherst would run concurrently with the Triple Crown season.
Well, here we are in the playoffs. Right. Last year, pretty good, too.
They got a chance to do it this year, then.
Yeah. How do you like their chances in this round?
I don't like them at all.
Not at all. All right, thanks for being on, Kevin.
Great.
Great to catch up with you.
Winner in the horse race, and we're done here.
I think Laval is really good. Like, I'm not saying the Amherst aren't, a very, very good team, but I just think Laval is a really good team. They have size, they have speed, whereas Syracuse had some big forwards who could get it on top of the D. They weren't all that mobile. Like, this team is fast, and they have mobility, and the Amherst D is mobile, but Laval can keep up with them. They can, I don't think it's a good matchup. But,
with the name Rocket, you'd better be able to skate.
That's right. And they have some guys who can, shoot some rockets from the point like Mayu. So it's a good matchup, but the regular season was 6-2 in favor of Laval, and I don't think that was far from, there's not that great a difference between the teams, but there's a reason Laval won the season series that definitively.
This sounds a little bit similar to how the Amherst season ended. It might have been the year before last when they made it. They went on a bit of a run, but ran into Hershey, and Hershey had like a bunch of grown men with big beards. I feel like they were big, mean, and tough.
Yeah, that's a good way to. Yeah, that's a good matchup. I'm not sure. Well, there's some experience on Laval as well, but they're not that seasoned like Hershey was. I think it's pretty similar to when we ran into Laval, in 2022. I think that would be a pretty good comparison. That was just a bigger, faster, stronger team, and the Amherst had a great, upset of Utica in the first round, and weren't able to get past Laval because they just weren't as good. And I sense that's probably the case, this year. Maybe Game 1 was an aberration. It's not an aberration, but maybe they make adjustments. We've certainly all seen that. We've seen teams get blown out in Game 1 of the series and win the series. So this was a one-goal game. Didn't feel like a one-goal game. It was, but it just didn't seem like there was any question Laval would score when they needed to.
Do you feel like, with that in mind here, that the Amherst, maybe much like the Sabres, aren't physically what they need to be to really go on a run in the playoffs here? Like it's maybe an organizational thing that they just don't have that type of player.
That's been true for how many of their 50-some years of existence, too?
That's certainly a very good point. That's really what it is. I mean, they have some very highly skilled, top-end prospects, but they're pretty much all the same. So if you look at the team, like they just don't have. I keep thinking, well, if Buffalo makes the playoffs, maybe they make it this year, or next year, if they'd made it this year, if they made it last year, whatever it may be, and put them up against Vegas, put them up against Florida. That's just a bad matchup.
Yeah.
Like those are not good matchups. Put them up against Dallas. Those are bad matchups. Granted, if you're putting them up against Dallas or Vegas, you're in the finals. But kind of the teams I'm looking at that just they don't match up well there.
Kevin, how about Devin Levi? It sounded like he had a fine season. The Sabres will have a decision to make on him, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's proven he can play, and he can play in the NHL. Will he be a star there? I don't know. I don't see him as a Ryan Miller yet. But the year he had and some of the games he had against Syracuse in that quick short series. I mean, he shut out a team twice in the playoffs. That's a pretty rare feat in this league and for this franchise. So, I like him. I think he's cleaned up some things. There aren't a lot of bad goals, as many as there were last year. I think he has a future. What they do, they have, again, there's decisions to make in a lot of places, but more goalies coming in and the incumbent and now him seemingly showing he's ready to move up next year. It's a good question what they do.
Yeah, I was wondering. I don't want to be done talking about the series and the Amherst here, Kevin, but I wonder if it feels at this point like it would be a disappointment, maybe to the organization, if not certainly to Levi, if he doesn't establish himself in the NHL next fall.
Yeah, I mean, with the year he had here, I mean, he certainly deserves the chance. Now, if he goes up there and doesn't play well, then okay, he still can come back here. But he needs to be given that chance because he's proven he deserves it. Maybe, training camp shows that as well, but, I'm not going to tell the front office what to do. I've done that for 30 years and they never listen. So I'm not going to,
keep trying. Don't give up, Kevin. They need all the help they can get. They need all the help they can get.
Don't give up. Kevin, we need you. We all need you. Come through.
Well, who else is coming now, right? I'm sorry if you're not ready for that. I feel like there's a potential crowd coming in the crease.
I didn't even look it up. I'm sorry. I just have
same here. I thought I saw they signed a couple guys. One of the European guys is ready to come over, and so like there could be another guy they want to sort of give a pretty decent role to in Rochester, and Levi staying behind maybe could complicate that for them organizationally.
Right, or is he ready to be a backup, or does he split with UPL? Things they have to decide, and it's one of many questions they have.
Yeah. So, how have you found him experiencing being down there?
He has embraced it as well as you possibly can. He's totally into it. He speaks highly of the city. He can't say enough good things when it comes to, talking about the fans or when he's on the mic as the first star after a game. He went into the playoffs with a newly designed, helmet mask with all Rochester themes. So, that I think says he's all in. He has been all in, and that's important. You can't just, even last year he said, this is my team. I'm here. This is my team now. Yeah, I was in Buffalo, but I'm here for a reason, and let's take care of that. So, I've been impressed with his ability to handle that, and just the way he has matured. And I don't want to say matured, but just shown, I'm an Amherst, and that's why I'm here. I'm an Amherst. Let's get this done.
Definitely not sulking, which is
oh no, and he really never did. So
right. Good.
But, just very much, like I said, embracing the city and what it's about and the fans. And, he's by far the most popular player here.
Has he got a golf course on that mask? I mean, Rochester's a great golf town.
He does not. I did a story on it as the playoffs were about to start. Or maybe it was after Game 1. It might have been after Game 1. It was so long ago. My gosh. That
right, 13 days off will do that to you.
Last winter.
Right.
But he's just got he's got the Amherst Moose, and the Moose is holding like a bubble tea and tacos. And as I wrote, who knew that a moose had hands? But this moose does. The bubble tea, like he said, he and a bunch of the players, a bunch of his teammates go for bubble tea every now and then, and in his words, love that stuff. They have Taco Tuesday at the rink every Tuesday, so he, put a couple of those things on. The back of his mask is the front of the hotel where he stayed all year here. He's just kind of one of those extended stay hotels.
Yep.
Made it easier than renting an apartment, and that's on the back of his mask. And the other side is Ryan Miller. Ryan Miller, and then one of the equipment guys.
All right.
Who once got in the shooting room downstairs and played goal and was a high school goalie, and that kind of shows how much he's embraced the team.
Yeah.
When he's got the assistant equipment guy or locker room attendant on his mask.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Kevin, 14 years without the playoffs for the Sabres. It really does blow your mind. The NHL has never...
It can't happen. It's impossible.
It just seems like it should be impossible. It's never happened.
That's I was going to say that's more improbable than a team going 50-some years without a Stanley Cup, or 60-some, or whatever the Leafs are at now. But
yes,
that's not possible either. And it's in a league that had 12 teams at the time, and since then, it's crazy. How can you go 14 years without making the playoffs?
Do you have any sort of big, knowing that you're not going to call the front office and give them your advice? We've established that. But do you have some sort of like big picture mode of attack for the Sabres? Like blow it up, ride it out, something else?
I don't think blow it up. But I do think they have enough high quality prospects that there are teams that need skill forwards. Move a couple. Find a deal. Here's Owen Power's a big guy. He's the type of defenseman they need as far as size goes, but he doesn't play that big. So how many, can you foresee that team with that defense getting past a Florida or those, teams that just come at you relentlessly and pound and pound and pound? I can't. So they need that type of D, I think, and they need that type of forward or three.
Who do you like in the race tomorrow?
I do like the Derby favorite. It's a field that isn't the greatest of fields, but journalism.
You're biased, though.
Journalism.
You're biased. You're biased. Journalism. Exactly. Of course, you're going to like journalism.
Yeah. The fact that he got beat, well, it's kind of it's an industry that's in trouble or has been, suffering. So, yeah. But I do like journalism. However, I like the 8 Clever again, probably equally. Prep race was really good. Didn't go in the Derby. Jose Ortiz gets off Sandman, the 7, to ride the 8. I think that says, that says something too.
That's the second mention of the 8 today.
Two for the 8.
Right.
Very good. Good luck, Kevin.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if they run 1-2 in either order.
What number is journalism? 2?
He's the 2.
Very good. You got to say the. It's like how we say the 190.
Yes.
Horse racing experts put the in there. That's to be noted. Kevin.
Very good point. Yes.
Great to talk to you again. Thanks for your time. Wait.
Absolutely. Have a great one, guys.
Before you hang up, where can we read you?
Oh, he's gone.
Spittin' Chicklets, he's been there.
No, Pickin' Splinters. Pickin' Splinters is where you can find Kevin. Yeah.
Is it that bad to mix those up?
No.
It sounds like pretty much the same thing.
With Owen here running the stream today, he asked me before we left home, like, I asked him, do you want me to send you our guest list? And I'm like, could we have a couple of harder names to spell, please, between Panayotovich and Oklubja?
I know.
I had to Google stuff to just copy and paste because I'm like, I am not going to spell these names right. And so why did I start bringing this up?
The website.
The website, right. I almost typed in Spit and Chicklets when I was sending the text to him, and I remembered, picking splinters.
Owen preparing. How adorable. Remember that? Remember those days? Preparing for the show? I barely do anymore. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog at 803-0550. This is WGR.
Broadcasting live from the Just Call Jed Studios.
on the report that the owners are going to consider changing the playoff format in football. It came up at the owners' meetings, but no changes were made official. And this week coming up is when that and the tush-push stuff, like, it's going to be all revisited. I don't want to say, like, be careful, NFL, because they just seem impervious to any sort of decline in any way. Putting games on Christmas, putting games on Thursday nights, everything they've done to just be more in your face. And it hasn't cost them, to say the least. It hasn't really cost them yet. Like, they just keep getting bigger. And, what is the line? Pigs eat, hogs get slaughtered. You just really can't say how anything like that is imminent. I think they went to 7 playoff teams. They went to 17 games. Nobody cared about 17 games, but they did it. Nobody cared about 7 playoff teams, but they did it. Now it'll be 18 games soon. Maybe it'll even be 8 playoff teams. Nobody needs it. They'll do it. And this one is disallowing teams that win their divisions but have the poorer record to play at home. Just seeding the playoffs by record only. Mm-hmm. Do we need it?
Absolutely not.
Do not need it.
No.
Like, changing the overtime rules all the time. Can you make a case for these kinds of things? Sure. Is it necessary? It's just confusing.
Yeah.
One thing it is confusing.
I don't like this idea. Just in general, I was like, oh no, just don't.
Don't need to do it.
Why do you have divisions already? You're playing these teams twice a year, and then you're going to tell me, I haven't earned it. So I don't like that. I believe it was Judy Batista was on with Brownie and Maddie this afternoon. Maddie Glab was in for Steve Tasker today on One Bills Live. And on my way in, Judy Batista was talking about the motivation for this, and I hate it even more now. At least the way she was explaining it. The commissioner is at least interested. They've got his ear on this idea. And she said it's really TV. The TV partners don't like how prevalent stars sitting out games late in the season has become. And so from that standpoint, I guess, and this can cut different ways, I suppose, but if you're all locked up and you can't move, well, then you sit your guys down. But if it's just, open season 1 through 7 or 1 through 8 eventually, and just because I've got my division locked up doesn't mean I'm guaranteed at least that first home game, then you might have to keep going. And doing that for TV needs the help. The league needs the partners aren't. I mean, the partners they pay. I mean, that is the lifeblood of the league. So it makes sense. But that made me hate it even more.
Yeah,
because it's not so much about competitiveness. It's about the product on TV, and that they want. Boy, talk about hogs getting slaughtered and pigs eating. They just want more reason for you to not turn these. Like, we turn the games off anyways. We're watching them no matter what. So I guess maybe not everyone. I mean, everyone doesn't have a job where they're required to watch a meaningless Week 18 game.
No, but I also like the discussion around sitting players. Like, it doesn't change the point about watchability, I guess, but it's an interesting discussion about strategy. Like what the Rams did last year. The Rams said, we don't care about the higher seed. We would rather have the rest. And that's what they did. And they drew Minnesota, who had won 14 games, and they beat them pretty easily, and then, they gave the Eagles a game. So I guess you might say they were correct in what their plan was. I don't know. If the 4 seed is a bad team but wins out of a weak division and they get to play at home against a, quote, good team, okay. I mean, life isn't fair.
Right.
And, they'll probably lose.
Yeah. I think if you're not going to have the reward for the division winner, then why do you have divisions?
Yeah.
And if you don't want to abolish divisions, then I think, I want to say definitively, you can't do this. Just, you don't do it. But TV is the thing. But that made me want to push back against it even more.
Because they're not.
When I heard that thinking, if that's
they're not
right,
hurting.
That's what that's what she's saying, and I think that's a smart observation on her part. And I'm guessing she's heard that. She's a very plugged in reporter. That really aggravated me when I heard that this afternoon.
See what happens there next week. Tim Freeze coming up next, local pro who was given the honor of announcing the groups this morning at the PGA Championship. We don't have Brian today. We'll talk to Tim about the tournament as we continue here after sports. Mike Schopp in the Bulldog, WGR.
Sports Radio 550
The Bandits make their 5th consecutive NLL Finals appearance as the best-of-3 series opens tonight at KeyBank Center against the Saskatchewan Rush. Pre-game show begins at 7 with face-off at 7:30 p.m. Can catch all of the action right here on WGR Sports Radio 550. Rochester Americans, after falling short against Laval Rockets on Wednesday evening, looking to bounce back tonight, continuing the North Division Final. Face-off is set for 7:05 p.m. at Blue Cross Arena. One game tonight in the NHL playoffs, Toronto Maple Leafs looking to avoid elimination. They're taking on the Panthers with face-off set for 8 p.m. Florida currently leads the series 3-2. And tonight, the NBA playoffs. The Knicks look to end the Celtics' postseason run in Game 6 with tip-off set for 8 p.m. The winner of the series goes on to face the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Final. Day 2 of the PGA Championship saw Jonathan Vegas finish 8 under, currently atop of the leaderboard. For more on the PGA Championship, tune into a 2-hour Tee to Green show tomorrow morning live from Niagara Frontier Golf Club. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet, celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Joe Cali for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Guy's a natural. That is Tim Freeze, longtime outstanding pro in Western New York, now with Glen Oak. And that was his voice at the PGA Championship. Tim, I hate the sound of my own voice, and everybody says that about themselves. I don't know if that was strange for you to listen to, but you sounded good to me.
Mike, thanks. I need to have a little more energy in there. Hate the sound of my own voice. You bet. It was a 5 a.m. shuttle with the cameraman and the rules officials. Oh, yeah, I didn't have enough coffee. Get the juice in there. I was better toward the end of the call. So funny. That's funny. You're exactly right.
How long did you announce groups for?
I had the first group out of 7 this morning, and I went till about 8:15, and then Dawn from Nebraska. There's 14 of us on the board of the PGA of America. We all take some shifts to start all the players off. It's fantastic Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday we do the same thing, and then also announce everybody to 18 green. That's fun. I have that shift tomorrow afternoon. Cool TV time, which would be the last couple of groups coming in, probably the last 2 hours, coming up 18 on Saturday. So, yeah, we have our, hour and a half, 2 hours, and it's cool. Rules officials, Pointy, you got, the Golf Channel, ESPN guys in your ear, and kind of counting down 10, 9, 8, and I had some cool groups out there this morning. I had Pavon. It's not Pavone. I heard from his girlfriend. So I mean, sure enough, here he is up there, and he was in the same group with Aaron Rye. Just great. The tour players are cool. They really are super guys. I'm not sure if DeChambeau is an actor or not, but he seemed pretty cool. I put a video up there for Brian. I tell you, it's just fun. I don't know. We can't determine. And the stories that you hear out there, social media, I might believe, and when the players put it out, it's fun stuff. And being here, lots of excitement, lots of cool stuff. This is the biggest build-out that we've ever done. The biggest. From fan experience here is exceptional. Everybody gets everything to eat. It's all included. Everything to drink, all included. You want to buy some alcohol, different. And then this is all a build-up, obviously, you can imagine, for the Ryder Cup, which is going to be nuts at Bethpage. But, yeah, biggest build-out. In fact, the golf course today played, 4 yards short of 7,600 yards. You do the math. That's 422 yards average per hole for 18. How would we all do playing 18 par 4s and 422? It's a big ballpark.
Well, I mean, you're nice to include us, especially me, in that question.
I'm sore.
How you would do.
Tim, I'm sore from walking Delaware Park this morning, okay? I just, no.
You can play it from Ring Road and then, experience that.
Yeah. Tim, that's an interesting one on Pavon. Like, we'll end up in these kind of situations sometimes where you think that a pronunciation is different than the public thinks, and then you say it what you believe is the right way, and you probably maybe sense that the people listening think you've said it wrong.
You're exactly right. So what happens, a little secret that I found over the years, is literally I meet them, in a sense, as they're coming up, they get their scorecard, grab a pencil or two. I go right to the caddy, and if I see a girlfriend or mom or dad, I go right up to him. So there's apparently 9 pronunciations of David Puig or Puig or Puig. It's P-U-I-G. How many ways can you say P-U-I-G? Well, I heard them all, and then the girlfriend said, that's the one, and I did it, and he smiled at me and pointed. I go, okay, I got it right.
Nice. You put the effort in. You deserve to be rewarded.
Yeah.
So being on the board is what avails you to the opportunity. You say you take turns. Is that kind of how it is? Because that's one thing I was wondering when thinking of talking to you today is, like, how do you get the gig?
Cool. So there's 31,000 members and associates of the PGA of America. We're the worker bees, right? The PGA Tour are the players, and we're the worker bees. That's 14,000 plus facilities around the country, and then around the world, PGA members are, right? So then there's a food chain. Think of the Senate of the United States. There's 50 states, right? 2 from each. Well, we take 1 from each of 14 districts. There's 14 of us. There's a couple officers, a couple independents, and then we have somebody from the tour. So that revolves. So that's our representation. We have a board. And one of the cool things, or I don't know if it's a perk, but we help run this and administrate the actual championship. I'm on the championship committee. This is great. So you get to do this. We get to determine the Ryder Cup, pick the Ryder Cup captain, determine all that. We're not picking the bunting of the reds and the whites and all that. But with Keegan Bradley and Luke Donald, who are obviously playing great here, which is kind of neat. The Ryder Cup captains help us do this. So as a board, you just strategically try to guide golf. We hear from all our members, all the people that play our places, like my facility. It's just fun to listen to them, and then I get to bring that to the board. And I'm working hard now, to be honest with you, to bring the PGA back to Oak Hill. It's one of the gems, a Donald Ross gem from around the country, and we keep coming back. USGA wants to do it too, but I'm hoping that in early to mid-30s, maybe 33, 34. We just announced Southern Hills for 32, I think. Mm-hmm. I think we got a shot at getting this back to Oak Hill, and that was a $200 million boost for the economy of Oak Hill, and that brings in, oh, holy cow, this is the governor. So what if you do tax-free things and we bring a Ryder Cup, we bring another PGA championship? This is big bucks for New York, but hey, what do they give us and leverage the brand of the PGA? And I tell you right now, what would it be worth on your radio show to bid, holy cow, the right tee marker of the Ryder Cup, on the final day? What if you got the bid for that, or the final flag that gets to be pulled? It's kind of cool stuff to leverage that. So we as a board get to determine, strategically how that works. In kind, they say, how about a perk? Get on the tee, announce it, get the names right. Here's phonetics. I'm doing the Women's PGA Championship, which is the KPMG in June down in Frisco. There's some names with 19 syllables. Holy cow. I went up to Ben Yun An. I was close. And he goes, Tim, how's Ben An? Great, thank you very much. So you don't have to go through the whole, diatribe of trying to figure it out and sweating. It's hot enough down here. It's awesome. Yeah.
Well, what is a day? So you actually had this responsibility this morning, which is a super cool opportunity to do that again. Do you get to watch a lot of the golf, or are you like just doing stuff because you're sort of on duty?
Chris, one of the cool things we did is we leveraged the brand and basically said, okay, what if we give an experience, our donors, our partners, an experience inside the ropes? So we call it Inside the Ropes Experience. So this afternoon I took some donors, some partners, our Reach Foundation, PGA Reach Foundation. They'll talk about it tomorrow on the radio show. Awesome stuff for kids, drive, chip, and putts that you saw, but the veterans, the whole program. So we get to take these folks in that have given us so much of resources and capital, get them inside the ropes. So this afternoon at 1:47, I took 3 people inside the ropes and followed from tee to green for 9 holes, and it was the 1, 2, and 3 in the world. It was a show. So we are on the tee with them, right? And then we just walk up. We don't want to be in their way. You sit down, and then you walk. You just keep going up to the green. You're in the alleyways that they got to go green to tee. You get some knuckles. You get some high fives. But that goes what a long way that goes in thanking and gratitude for the people that help us in all of our things and all of our programs and our foundation. So it's so fun. So, Chris, I do a little bit of work in between. I do get to watch, but I bet you right now, as you watch, you might know more about what happened on the golf course than I would, because I'm not paying attention as much to the leaderboards, although I did see the double from Vegas. I did see some of the scores. And then following, Rory, I'm telling you, DeChambeau, Brian's got it. I do catch a few, but this man, the hole's 500 and something. Dogleg right, number 1. I went behind and videoed it. When I got it up there, I think Brian put it up there. He takes a tack. Instead of hitting a high cut, a left to right for a righty, he takes it over everything, smashes it, and everybody's hooting and hollering. It's a rock concert.
Right.
It's so funny. Because we all dream of this. They can't, and it is amazing. These guys, Rory McIlroy can play center ice. He's got a butt like a centerman, man. They are all in rocks. So we get in the locker room, we got to change, put our ties and all that stuff on. But in the meantime, we get to see Scheffler's. He is bigger than you can imagine. His shoulders are wide. He's thick. He's tall. And the club gets up there about 7 feet. That's how he hits it. He's got a superpower. One of those superpowers is his caddy, Ted Scott, that while he's on greens, he's reading the greens or the flag positions that could happen tomorrow and Sunday. It's amazing. It's a science. You can't just go inside the ropes and caddy. These guys they're professionals. They get paid great, but holy cow, the homework that goes into it. And then they wink to us. They give us signs what club they're hitting, and they flash the fingers and all that. We catch all that. It's fun. It's good. It's cool.
Tim Freeze with us at the PGA Championship. How close did you ever come to making this event?
I'm trying really not to say me or I. I swear to God, Chris and Mike. Yes, I tried to qualify. I've been to a couple of championships. I did get to play in the senior PGA Championship. Mm-hmm. That was fantastic, and it was awesome. And I birdied the first 2 out of 3 holes. And holy cow, you see your name on the leaderboard, and then you throw up. Oh, no. Oh, great. So I've never made this. I've been close, sure. But that doesn't matter. There's 1,000 of me. It doesn't matter. Make the field. There's 20 of us club pros that did make the field.
Yeah.
This was the Michael Block crazy story, right. Playing with McIlroy, having a hole-in-one. That's just, you can't make it up. So there are here. So.
He's in the field again.
He did make the field again from, down in Frisco, which I did get to play last year. Didn't make it. That's okay. We keep trying. But as the age goes up, you lose a little speed, and holy cow, you heard every hole here. These guys hit it in places we just don't. It's like the NBA playing with 6-foot rims. It's just not what it looks like for these guys. It's amazing. But I'll tell you what, for all the listeners, when they get over shots, when they get over putts, the pre-shot routine, they settle in. The focus is crazy good. They take that little extra look in time, and there's not rush shots. They are professionals at this, and they are the best at it, and we get to watch this. This is fantastic. How
do you feel like the players are responding to the course? Because it sounded like a bit of a rough week leading up to it, some criticism of the course. How do you feel like that's going over so far, Tim?
Yeah, it's literally rule 1-1, play it as you find it as it lies, right? So we struggle with that, and amateur bodies making the rules of a professional game. So we're keeping it that way at this moment. This is awesome because you play the course as you find it. Well, this was a super challenge because only once in the history of a major has the ball been played up. And it was in one of our championships. It was that bad in Baltusrol in New Jersey a couple of years ago. Jimmy Walker won. It was that bad. So all of a sudden they're faced as late as Wednesday with 4.5 inches of rain. Glen Oak would be underwater, and we got rowboats out down, Ransom Creek.
Right.
Not here. So Johnny Harris is his father. They started this with Arnold Palmer back in the 60s. They got this thing going, and they built drainage and sub-air systems in the green. They could take water and literally just make it disappear. They did it, and it was a question whether they could play the ball, quote, down or up. And they decided early Thursday morning before the first player hit it, all right, there's going to be some places. One of those places was in 16, and that's where Scheffler and Schauffele just, what you have to do when you have a mud ball, let's say, none today. But yesterday was but it's tough. You want to keep the ball down. Once you put a ball in a player's hand, they can do magic with it. So you just don't want to have that happen in a championship, right? So then, sure, you got to play the ball different. Play it back, knock it down, have Jeff talk about it tomorrow, my friend, PGA golf professional, with Brian and Kevin tomorrow. So basically, you got to play it back and run it up there and take your chances, get it up and down. Once you try to do something heroic, it doesn't work. Mud does affect the ball. So anyway, they made the call. We got hit, but just like Ryder Cup ticket, we took a hit, but now it's going for 5 times more than the original tickets, and that must have been a deal at the time. It's just, everybody gets caught up in the emotion, but the course is fantastic. I've worn white shoes now every day, not a speck of mud on them. It's amazing. So it was just the playing surfaces, and they only got to cut the greens, cut the fairways. It was raining so much. They only got one cut on it, and having Glen Oak and knowing what it takes to cut fairways, they cut them through the night with headlights, and it's incredible what has to happen, the hundreds of millions that goes into running an event. Hey, from the USGA, the Royal and Ancient, it's cool, it's big bucks, it's fun, but the people here and the energy is just so good, good. And everybody's eating and drinking. They're having a good time. It's a big party.
And you'll be a part of the Ryder Cup scene, too, you said. I have a friend, Bulldog knows him very well, Adam Krautwurst, co-host of the Deep End Fantasy Football Podcast. He is volunteering. He won an opportunity to volunteer at Bethpage, and he can't wait. So I bet.
Oh yeah, you guys. It's the Ryder Cup once every 4 years. If anybody has a shot, it's worth it. Bethpage, I played there in the State Open for so many years. It's a monster. It's a Tillinghast. They just played one of those last week. It's so cool. The course it's my favorite. I can remember every hole you can imagine. But when Koepka won there, it's a big baller. You just got to smash it. It's different than other Ryder Cups because this is ours. Over in England, they squeeze in the fairways. Over in Ireland, over in France, over in Rome, they do it different. We're going to do it our way here, and it's going to be fun. But the opportunity now, you've heard of the ticket giveaway we're doing. 3,000 tickets, 500 tickets. We're putting GoPros on flags on the other courses at Bethpage. We walk up and we surprise literally players that are out there, firemen, anybody, and we say, here's 2 tickets for the Ryder Cup coming up, and we surprise the heck out of them. We're giving away 6,000. It's so good.
That's fantastic. That is super cool, Tim.
Wow, Tim, you're having a ball. We can definitely tell. That's great. Love the energy.
I love it. No, Schopp Bulldog. I played golf with you guys. We had some fun there at Transvalley,
Yes.
and you guys I know enjoy the game. It's a hard game. It's a fun game to play, a hard game to master, and I'm watching masters do this. They are Picassos out on the golf course here. It's fun. When they get closer to the hole, they smell it, and they're even better. It's fun to watch the big ball, but I like watching short games, short shots, and being inside the ropes and seeing that up close as a golf professional, as a teacher, instructor, and just it's an entertainment. That's Glen Oak for us. Come out and be entertained. Have fun with your friends. That's all we sell. I don't sell green fees. I sell fun, right? So that's what we want to do, and that's what they're doing here.
You would be impressed with Bulldog's touch around the greens for a big guy. Speaking of guys with big shoulders.
I knew that was coming.
You would be impressed. He used to go by the nickname and embrace it, the Big Uneasy.
Mike dubbed me that many years ago.
But those days are over. Like he's very smooth out there now, Tim, which we all aspire to.
You know, Chris, you put the beard on one side or the other, one shoulder or the other as you're taking the club back? How does that work?
It's trimmed way back for the summer, Tim. So I'm not a hindrance. No. I've started playing. I played 65 rounds last year, which when I was half my age, way back when, I never played that much. But my oldest son has gotten into the game, and we're members at Delaware, and it's right up the street. So I mean, gone is the 6 or 7 hour, driving and then playing and all that. Like we're in and out of there in 3 hours. I mean, it's really great. Not to say I don't enjoy. We Owen and I played Glen Oak last summer and had a great time out there. So
thank you for coming. You get and think about what we have around. There's word that maybe Westwood turns into 9 holes, another type of a county thing. Fantastic for the golfers out there. If anybody who's listening right now, if your kids are interested at all, COVID was so awful in so many ways, but unbelievable for kind of our sport in a sense. It showed family, friends, having a great time together, having some laughs. Doesn't matter what you shoot.
Outdoors.
I play a ton of alternate shot now with my friends and wives. Oh, my gosh, right? So what it did do right now is it's been 40, 50 years. If you play golf, if your children play golf, a woman makes about 30, 35% more compensation in her lifetime. She just plays golf. It's networking. You're with people. You're having fun. It's sales. It's all that. So get out, play a little golf. Don't want to be good. Just enjoy it. Maybe bang some balls. But Delhi, I played last summer. I showed up about 5 o'clock with a friend, and the guy kind of goes, it's a little late. I want you guys just to go. I love it. And I'm like, well, it's one putt. It's just great. And you played 65 rounds? Chris, it's fantastic.
Are we going to see you at the trophy presentation?
Yes.
All right.
They won't let me wear my hat, so I'll be one of the old guy, bald guy, and I'll get my position there with my blue coat on. We are in the green. Whoever wins this thing, it is fun. And then on that green will be many of our veterans we've taught are part of our program. It's amazing. Some of the kids in the drive, chip, and putt. It's just good stuff. And we're the worker bees. We want to make it fun for everybody. We will be on that 18th green on Sundays. It'd be fantastic, yeah.
It's great to hear how much you're enjoying yourself there, and you're definitely a great spokesman for the game and the tournament. So we appreciate you making time for us.
And you've always been a really good supporter, not just of the game all around here in Western New York, but of Brian and Kevin and Jeff Meadus and Tita Green. And on behalf of them, thank you for that. The station appreciates it.
Chris and Mike, I go to work with a smile. I come home with a bigger smile. I just loved what the game means, and honor and integrity. It just means so much. And if more people did it and played it and enjoyed it and find out what they have in their friends and their family, that's it. Enjoy the experience. You don't have to be good at it. Just have some fun and pop a Mick Light, right? So Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, before you
Thank you,
go,
Tim.
I got my wife and I have gotten to be friends with your cousin AJ over the years, and we got a beautiful piece of his artwork that I got her for Christmas many years ago that hangs in our living room. And he heard you were going to be on, and he wanted to make sure to tell me to tell you hello.
My cousin AJ, when he was born, Andy Freeze. We had lots of joke with that one. Andy, yeah, Andrew. He's the best. What an artist. He's made money of the Buffaloes around town too. He's quite an artist.
He's a very talented dude. Yeah, for sure.
Great cousin and a great friend. Yes, thank you very much. Thanks for saying that about AJ. That's great.
Tim, have a great time down there. I know you are.
You betcha, gentlemen, and hopefully we get to tee it up and make some birdies together.
Let's
Appreciate
do it. Thank you, Tim. Tim Freeze down at the PGA Championship. Jonathan Vegas is still the leader by 2. Scotty Scheffler is 4 back. He is the betting favorite still. Although, it's kind of starting to feel like yesterday. Every time I look up, they're in the rough sand. McIlroy's throwing a club.
Yeah. While we were talking to Tim,
Not a good sign.
He got a bad roll. It looked like off of a tee shot that he might have thought was pretty good at a par 3, and then he threw a club kind of at a sign.
Can't have that.
No, you don't like
Think of the kids.
Don't like to see that.
Think of the kids.
Don't like to see that.
I mean, you cannot.
Yeah.
The kids are going to be scarred by that one. Next up, Dave Buchanan, the Bandits and Saskatchewan tonight, game 1 of the best-of-3 NLL Finals. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Happy Friday. This is WGR.
Never miss a second of the Extra Point Show. Rewind up to 24 hours with Odyssey. Now, Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines.
The Bandits make their 5th consecutive NLL Finals appearance as the best-of-3 series opens tonight at KeyBank Center against the Saskatchewan Rush. Pre-game show begins at 7 with face-off at 7:30. Can catch all of the action right here on WGR Sports Radio 550. San Francisco 49ers and quarterback Brock Purdy have agreed to a 5-year, $265 million contract extension with $181 million in total guarantees. One game tonight in the NHL playoffs, the Toronto Maple Leafs looking to avoid elimination, taking on the Panthers with face-off set for 8 p.m., and Florida currently leading 3-2. Tonight in the NBA playoffs, the Knicks look to end the Celtics postseason run in Game 6, tip-off set for 8 p.m. In Day 2 of the PGA Championship saw Jonathan Vegas finish 8 under, currently atop of the leaderboard. For more on the PGA Championship, tune into a 2-hour Tee to Green show tomorrow morning live from Niagara Frontier Golf Club. Those are your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet, celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Joe Cali for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Call or text WGR at 803-0550 or post on X at WGR550 and get connected to Schopp and the Bulldog now. Brought to you by Northtown Kia. Check out the 2025 Kia K4 sedan, named finalist for the 2025 North American Car of the Year.
Big night downtown. The Bandits going for a 3rd straight title. They can't win it tonight. Game 1 of the best of 3. Pre-game
but
at
they
7.
could lose it. No, that's not right.
They can't lose it either.
That's not right. They can't. No, it's not how best of 3 works.
But best of 3 is short.
That's right.
One loss and you're in trouble.
It's as short as you can have a best of.
One loss and you're in trouble.
Best of 2.
They don't have that. Well, soccer kind of has that.
Yeah, I guess that's right. Yeah.
Road goals. Fans are excited. Bandits in Saskatchewan. It's 7 o'clock for pregame tonight. Dave Buchanan will be on the broadcast. As always, he joins us now on the Whistler Hotline. Dave, are you suited up? Are you ready to go here, or is it too early still?
No, I'm coming to you from the media room here at KeyBank Center and just chuckling to myself with your lovely lead in here. I wouldn't expect anything less from you guys. Classic Schopp and Bulldog right there.
The best of 3. It's not must win, but the next one would be if you lose this one. We're continuing to break down and explain best of 3.
Dave, I got to ask. I saw, or actually just complain a little bit. I saw like a lot of hardware being handed out, like Player of the Year, this or that. John Gertler got some love. Where's Sideline Reporter of the Year? I need you to get some credit here. I was very disappointed that you didn't get mentioned.
Yes, as one of my colleagues from TSN, Ashley Docking, once said, hashtag justice for floor reporters. They do not have a Sideline Reporter of the Year award, but I'm so thrilled that John finally got some recognition and got the Tom Borelli Award as the Media Person of the Year for the National Lacrosse League, and we're looking forward to covering another finals together.
So how does it stack up, Dave? What's Saskatchewan all about? They end up getting through Halifax in 2 games.
This is a very stacked team. I mean, they've racked up GM of the Year, Coach of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and Goaltender of the Year just in this past week. It's a very talented squad. Out the front door, they've got 2 really good shooters in Robert Church and Austin Shanks, and they also have some talented guys like Zach Mans and Ryan Keenan as well. And then their defensive unit is solid. They have 3 players that rank in top 15 in loose balls and top 10 in caused turnovers, the likes of Jake Boudreau, Mike Messenger, and Matt Hossack, who won Defensive Player of the Year and just so happens to live in Lancaster as well. And then they've got a really solid goaltender in Frank Chiliano, who may have struggled in the playoffs on his previous team, San Diego, but he's 3-0 this year and hasn't given up more than 10 goals so far this postseason.
How did the season go with between the Bandits and Saskatchewan, Dave?
Well, the reason the one game they played this year is the reason why we're here tonight. Buffalo beat Saskatchewan in Saskatoon back on March 1st in a 9-7 game, and that was the tiebreaker. Both these teams finished 13-5, and so that's why this series is starting here in Buffalo tonight, because Buffalo did win that game. It was tied, or Saskatchewan might have had a 1-goal lead, but Buffalo battled back and got the win. The only difference maybe in that game from tonight is Saskatchewan didn't have Robert Church in the lineup. His wife was having a child, so he had to miss that game. So that's probably the one big difference between that game and tonight's lineup.
I know you were listening last Friday when we talked to Josh Byrne, and maybe the first question we put to him was just like the advantage of having a weekend off. Saskatchewan would have played not the whole series last weekend, but game 2 last Saturday, I think it was. Have you heard that from the players? Is that because he said it's a big deal to have got a little bit of a break there. I'm guessing that most, if not all, the players in the team would echo that.
Oh, yeah, completely. As much as, when they had all those bye weeks at the start of the season, they wish they would have had a more consistent start to their year. I think they did enjoy having the week off. They did practice last week in Oakville. But there's a couple of guys that have some bumps and bruises that probably healed up an extra week. Plus, but it's probably why Kyle Matisse was activated off the IR. We'll see if he makes the active lineup tonight. But he's been battling a lower body injury since the final game of the regular season. So I think they did enjoy having the week off and were able to kind of sit back and watch things play out.
I'm curious, Dave, if you can tell us what you know about how common or uncommon the scene that Buffalo enjoys is around the league. Size of the building, capacity crowds, just the fervor that is here for the Bandits in the local market. Like, does Saskatchewan enjoy that? As far as you know, do other teams in the league enjoy the kind of support that Buffalo gets?
The most direct comparisons, BD, would have to be like Colorado Mammoth and Denver. They play in Ball Arena like the Avalanche and the Nuggets do. They get a pretty respectable crowd, and it's a very loud building, having been there twice for the NL Finals. Calgary does pretty well. They play in the Saddle Dome just like the Flames do. And I think Vancouver, they play now in Rogers Arena like the Canucks do, and they're having a nice turnaround, and I think their fan base is going to continue to grow now over the next couple of years. So you do see it, I think, most notably in those three markets because they have similar, NHL, NBA-sized arenas. Saskatchewan, when they were winning, they almost went a three-peat of their own about 10 years ago. And then back then they were drawn, well over 10,000. But this year they've kind of struggled a bit with attendance. I'm not sure what that reason is. But I know tickets for tomorrow, our Sunday's game, have been going pretty well, too. So, and there's some other, growing fan bases. Ottawa, their first year, they're playing in the same building as the Senators. Rochester's numbers were kind of bouncing back up this year as well, too. But really, I think Buffalo still leaps and bounds ahead of probably most other teams in the league. But I think there is some other dedicated fan bases, like I mentioned.
The first playoff game this year, the Bandits over San Diego, 5-4. I didn't realize when I was watching it that I was watching the lowest scoring game in league history. Which I read today on the Bandits website. Maybe that's playoffs. Maybe that's just all games. Incredible. Then the first Vancouver game we watched as well, 9-3. I mean, that's the record low for goals allowed by the Bandits. 11-9 in the second game reads more like a lacrosse score to my eyes. What's if you don't mind me putting into these terms, what's our over-under tonight looking like, Dave? I mean, you've had two of these three playoff games where they were very tough to score against, but maybe this matchup lends itself to sort of a different kind of game. What do you think?
Yeah, usually with the NLL, you usually don't see lines beyond -1.5 or -2.5, and I can't say that I've looked, but I know someone that works for one of the Canadian sports books. I should go ask him, but I'm assuming it's probably just a -1.5 in favor of Buffalo tonight, and that's to be expected at this stage. I think both of these teams have played some really competitive games here in the postseason, and with the defense style of defense Buffalo plays, I think it is going to be like a 10-9, 10-8, 11-10 kind of game this evening. Okay,
so sort of a normal score.
Yeah.
More we're not looking at 5-4 again, or even 9-3. All right.
Both of those results were very unexpected for me. I know the Bandits, they do have a tendency to really turn it on in the postseason. But I know with the Saskatchewan offense, I don't know if they'll be able to hold them to just 4 or 3 goals tonight, but we'll see.
So when John throws it down to you like Dan Dunleavy does for Razor for his keys to the game, what is that going to sound like tonight, Dave?
I think for Buffalo, I think one of their keys to the game is to stay out of the penalty box. I think Saskatchewan really took advantage of Halifax's penalties in their series, and the Bandits do have a tendency to take some penalties. You know, they've taken some costly 5-minute majors this season, so that's one. Keep their composure. And number two, I think keep up their exceptional play on shutting down the transition of the opposing team. They've done it really well. They did it well against Vancouver and against San Diego, and even late in the regular season against Halifax. Saskatchewan's got that strong defensive unit, as I said, and to try and limit them getting the ball up the floor and creating odd man rushes in the other direction. So I think it's composure and transition are my two keys to the game.
Do you know anything about tickets for tonight?
I've been kind of looking at Ticketmaster. I don't have anything official, but first-hand tickets, not resale. It's been kind of the top rows of the 300s are remaining. It's a beautiful evening here in downtown Buffalo. The party in the plaza is just getting started, as we went on the air here at 5:30. So come on down, grab some tickets. It should be a good time in Banditland tonight.
Thank you, Dave. Enjoy it.
Thanks, guys. Always good talking to you.
You too. Dave Buchanan on the West Her Hotline, 7 o'clock for tonight's pregame show.
I love when he calls me BD.
BD, I know. I heard that. Everybody catch that? It slipped it in.
It's like Dave was one of our producers a very long time ago, and of course was at the station for a long time, hosting the Fast Track show, the auto racing show. This one of my favorites. I just love when he says that. BD just rolls
BD.
off like that.
How many producers have we had?
Well. We had
rank them.
Oh, that's
Joe's in the book now. Well, it's not his first day with us.
He's been in the book. We working backwards. Joe,
I bet it's 50.
Evan DePasquale has done what Joe's doing today for us a few times, so he's got a count. And of course Zach. I'm working backwards. Sneaky Joe.
Well, I mean, Derek has produced the show. Josh has produced the show.
That's right. Well, I was going to get there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was helping.
No, you definitely are. I would have named everybody.
I bet it's dozens, right? It's just a few people once or twice,
Sure. Yep. Bauk 3 times, I think. Did Bauk have two stints, 3 stints? He had some stints.
Him, I don't remember.
He had multiple stints.
I'm having a tough time placing him. The name is sort of familiar. I think of his name as a little different. Buck, I thought it was. But that sounds right. We'll take a break. I need a break. I mean, that's clear. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. This is WGR.
Broadcasting live.
been all around today. The Preakness, the Amerks, the Bandits, the PGA. A little bit on the NFL, the Bills' schedule, and the idea that they might change the playoff format. Another one that would have been great to talk about, and we can eventually, but really haven't, is the idea of the NFL adopting a draft lottery. And most of what I saw on Twitter was very negative toward that. Like, it's another one where, are you sure you really need a fix, right? That's what we said about the playoff seeding idea. Like, do you have a problem? Is it necessary? Maybe it's okay. Maybe it is even good, but weigh that against just, the confusion or whatever. I don't know. I don't think I like that the NFL is still without a lottery, with hockey having it, so you can compare. Mm-hmm. And as recently as last year, and this has happened a number of times, teams in line for the top pick blow it by winning a game. Like the Patriots last year beating the Bills cost them literally the number one overall pick. So if that's going to happen, if something about the sport lends itself to that, upsets, or just there are other bad teams too. That Texans Colts game where Houston won and then Chicago got the first overall pick. It happens. Coaches are incentivized, players are incentivized. Even like Doug Marrone, that wasn't involving the top pick of the draft, but that meaningless game in Foxborough, he wanted it.
He wanted that game.
So I don't think that's why you want the lottery, is to prevent somebody from just going to the bottom and there's just no question. The league hasn't really been that way.
No, I don't think they have a problem at all, really. It kind of, I don't say it blew my mind. I mean, the people are looking for things to bring up, and tanking is a thing that is a hot button issue, or can be, certainly was here 10 years ago. That's for sure. But yeah, I do not feel like the league has a problem. I've seen some of this negative reaction you're referring to go so far as to say if you put in a lottery, you might tempt more teams to try to improve their chances of getting the number one pick, and in reverse, end up with a problem that you don't already have. Like you're trying to create something to fix a problem you don't have, and it will create the problem you're trying to fix that you don't have. Did that all make sense? Did that track? Just stop. You do not need it. I don't think you have anything to worry about in that department in the NFL.
Yeah, I wonder if it'll happen. Like, is there some? You were saying before about the seeding, how the push for it stems from late season, regular season games where the best players sit. Teams rest their guys because the games are unimportant. And if you open up the seeding to that extent, that'd be just logically less likely to happen. Does the draft somehow fail to deliver the way it is? Does anybody come out of the regular season, sort of, except for maybe the teams that pick second or third, whining about how there should be a lottery? I mean, have you ever heard that conversation? It's probably happened, but it just doesn't seem like it's needed. And the draft is such a spectacle now. Does anybody at the draft ever say, it would be fair if they? I'm not even sure lotteries really work. We've had it all through these years with the Sabres, and this year the Islanders get the first pick. Congrats. I mean, San Jose had the worst record, the best odds. Who was second? Not Utah. Someone else, Chicago maybe, someone else was second, and they got bounced. Is that how we want it? I like that there's both.
Yeah, I guess yeah, fine. I don't love lotteries, period. I definitely feel strongly I don't want it in the NFL. I guess I'm living with it. I mean, what good would it be to complain? So, because I do think it does. If you're near there, you're sort of like, I give myself 3 percentage points better or something by losing this game. I just think it's more tempting than just finishing last in the NFL could ever be. myself. So I just hope they don't. These ideas, I don't know, the tush push will come up too, and I don't know the draft lottery. I haven't heard that that's on the agenda or anything. It's just an idea that's coming, largely from, I think, a speech Mike Greenberg made on ESPN earlier this week. Like that's the what's generating it. So I don't know.
I know I don't want it.
I don't know if it's got traction or anything, but I don't want to see it at all. I just do not think it's a problem you need to fix. You don't have a problem.
You don't have a problem. Isn't that nice in life when that happens?
Yeah.
Where you just don't have a problem?
Don't go looking for problems you don't. You're fine.
You're fine out there. Everybody, you hear that? You're fine. The Bandits tonight, pregame at 7. The Bisons are home tonight. Beautiful weather. That's a 6 o'clock game, so just a few minutes, and they're coming off a win. Friday night's always fun at the ballpark. And also, like we haven't checked enough boxes today, tonight is opening night in the WNBA. So you've got that too. We didn't cover the WNBA with Sam Panayotovich. We did talk Knicks Celtics, which is tonight, and a few other topics. The Preakness, which is tomorrow. We'll have that conversation for you after the update. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, WGR.
More of Schopp and the Bulldog coming up, live from the Just Call Jed studios. Injured? Best results? Happy clients. Call Jed now at 839-3939 or calljed.com.
There's a reason more people are driving new Toyotas from McGuire Toyota of Grand Island. It's our